Number 8, together or alone. If you decide to do something that's, outside of clinical medicine, you have to decide, really, again, what are your goals? How big do you want to get? Because I have this concept. It's sort of like this, the kind of like this valley that you go through. So when you start doing something and then you hire people to help you, at the beginning, and when you're a certain size, you might actually make less money than if you just did it yourself. And one of my formative experiences that I think allowed me to start this education business when I was 40, I started, was when I was still in college, or right after college. I continued after college. And I was working with a friend. We became partners, and we wanted to be, I was a house painter, and this was early 80s, and I almost became like a, developer. I wanted to go in that direction. And we hired, we had 3 crews going on. And so my partner and friend, Jerry, and I, we were kind of doing some estimates for some big job, and then we came back to see what one of the crews was doing, and one of the guys almost burnt the entire apartment building down. Because he was stripping wood, and he was using paint stripper. This, by the way, is very common in the U.S. This probably happens hundreds of times a year around the country. You put on paint stripper, which is made out of petroleum-based products, right? And then it wasn't coming off, so he took the heat gun, because that's the other way. Those are the two ways of, getting rid of paint. And the whole thing just went up in flames, right? And at that point, I was like 21 or something. I was like, oh, okay, this is not good. And that's where I learned that sometimes it's better just to do things on your own. In fact, one of our colleagues, I'll just use her first name, Michelle, she has a specialty psychiatric practice, and she does it completely alone. No receptionist, no nurse, no whatever. She rents some space to a psychotherapist that she trusts, but it's no further professional relationship there. She's unencumbered. So you have to decide, is that going to work for you? And you can do that. I know many very successful people. You can make a lot of money if you know what you're doing, working just alone. Or sometimes, getting an assistant to schedule things, that's okay. But when you want to grow a business, even if you're growing telepsychiatry business or you're starting a group practice, right? I'm sure there's some of you in here who are doing that or have done it. And sometimes it's the trouble is not worth the actual financial benefit. There's so many headaches. People are hard to work with. I like people. I like working with people. But when they work for you, boy, is it hard. People will, we have hundreds of pages of SOPs in my company, standard operating procedures. And I still often can't get people to do it the way they should. That's just the way it is. It's hard. It's hard managing people and getting things done. So you have to, if you want to grow a business, now, we have 25 people in the company. Somewhere between 2 people and, up to 8 or 10 people, you may actually be making less money than if you just worked on your own. After a certain size, of course, you get, efficiencies of scale, and then you can make more money, right? So that's I went through that. And the reason was because I was 45 when I hit a point of enough success. It was after about 6 years of running the company, where I felt like I could just do my thing, work less than half the time and make really good money and just be semi-retired. And then I thought, well, what else am I going to do? I actually don't play golf. I would probably then just start another, venture. But why would I start another venture when I already have one? So let me try to grow this business. And that's when we start expanding into surgery and internal medicine and pediatrics. Okay? So there's different ways of doing it, together or alone, and you can't say one is better than the other. It really depends on what you want to do.